This video will give you the confidence you need to sound like a professional in business meetings. I'll share essential phrases and professional expressions that will help you speak confidently in formal meetings. You also learn how to start and conclude a meeting. So keep watching this video. Hello language lovers, welcome back to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Let's start with starting a meeting. First things first. At the beginning of a meeting, you should start with greetings. You should greet everyone and also introduce the purpose of the meeting clearly. So here are some examples. You can say, good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time of the meeting. I appreciate you joining today's meeting. The purpose of today's meeting is to review our progress on the project and discuss our next steps. Do not say this, let's talk about the project. No. Here are other ways you can introduce the meeting's purpose. We have gathered today to review dot, dot, dot. Our goal for the meeting is to dot, dot, dot. The next one is introducing topics and transitioning between points. A well-structured meeting requires smooth transitioning between topics. Here's how to introduce or move on to different points professionally. If you want to introduce a new topic, you can say something like this. I'd like to start by discussing dot dot dot. Or the first item on the agenda is, you can also say, let's begin with dot dot dot. And if you want to move to the next topic, you can say something like this. This brings us to our next topic. Or you can also say something like this. Now let's move on to dot dot dot. And then you can also say, shall we proceed to the next item? At this point, you can pause and get their response before moving on. Do not say, now let's move on to marketing. Say this instead. Now let's move on to the next point, which is marketing strategy for the next quarter. And the next point we're going to look at is giving opinions or suggestions in formal setting. What are the ways you can do that? You have to use professional language to sound confident and respectful. Right, let's sample some of these phrases. Number one, you can say, I believe that dot dot dot. From my perspective, we should dot dot dot. I'd like to suggest that we dot dot dot. It might be beneficial to dot dot dot. One possible solution should be dot dot dot. So don't say, I think we should do more advertising. Rather, say it like this. I'd like to suggest that we allocate bigger budget for advertising to increase brand awareness. The next one is asking for opinions and encouraging discussions. Encouraging participation makes the meeting engaging and productive. Here's how to professionally ask for input from colleagues. What are your thoughts on this? Would anybody like to share their perspective? Do you have any insight on this matter? I'd love to hear your input on this issue. Do not say, does anybody have anything to say? Rather say, would anyone like to contribute their thoughts on this proposal? And the next point is agreeing and disagreeing politely. In a formal meeting, it's important to express agreement or disagreement professionally. So to agree, you can say, I completely agree with this point. That's an excellent suggestion. You can also say, I see your point and I support it. So to disagree, you can put it this way: I see your point, but I have a different perspective. While I understand your view, I'd like to offer another approach. Or you can also put it this way: I respectfully disagree because dot dot dot. You give your point of view. So never say, I don't think that's a good idea, or I don't think that will work. No. Rather, put it nicely this way: I see your point, but I have some concerns about its feasibility. Let's look at keeping discussions focused. Sometimes a colleague might go off point. You can handle that professionally by bringing him back to the topic of discussion. Here are some phrases you can use. That's an interesting point, but let's stay on track and return to this later. You can also say, we're running out of time. Let's table this for now and prioritize the current agenda. Another way to put it is, we appreciate your input. Let's focus on today's discussion and come back to this later if needed. Please don't say, we are going off topic, let's move on. No, that's rude. Rather, put it this way: that's a valid concern, but let's focus on today's agenda and revisit this if time permits. The next one is postponing a decision. Sometimes a decision could be inconclusive because of some factors. And here are some phrases you can use in such a situation. We don't have enough information to decide now. So let's address this in our next discussion. You can also put it this way: since we need feedback from the finance team, let's put this on hold until we have their feedback. We can also say, this is a complex issue. I'll prefer to revisit this once we've gathered more data. Do not say, let's delay this decision. A better way to put it is this: this requires further analysis. Let's hold up on making a decision until we have more insights. And the next point is revisiting a topic, specifically using the phrase circle back. Sometimes a discussion needs to be postponed or revisited later. Here's how to professionally express that. Let's table this discussion for now and circle back in our next meeting. Or you can say, I understand this is important. Can we circle back to it after we finalize the budget? You can also say, we are short on time. Let's move forward and circle back to this if needed. You can also say, let's circle back to this point once we gather more data. Please do not say, let's talk about it later. It sounds nonchalant and lazy. Rather, a better way to put it, this is a great point, but we need to focus on our main agenda. Let's circle back to this at the end of the meeting. And the next point is summarizing key points and making decisions. At the end of a meeting, it is important to summarize what was discussed and confirm any decisions made. So, what are the phrases you can use? To summarize, we have decided to dot dot dot. You state the decisions. Or you can say, let's quickly go over the key points we covered today. You can also say, before we wrap up, let's confirm our next steps, or let's go over the action points to ensure we are aligned. Another way of putting it is, I want to make sure we are on the same page. Let's summarize the key takeaways from this discussion. Yet another beautiful way of putting it: before we conclude, let's summarize the key points, and then you go ahead to list them. We will increase the marketing budget, set a new deadline for the project, and follow up with the design team. Do not say, so that's it, or let's make sure we are clear. No. All right, let's get to the final one, which is setting up follow-ups after meeting and scheduling next meeting. For a meeting to be productive, it is necessary for the implementation of some of the things that we discussed during the meeting. And for this to be achievable, there has to be a follow up on that. Here are some phrases you can use in such a situation. Let's reconvene in a week to assess our progress. The next one is I'll schedule a follow-up meeting so we can review any unresolved point. And finally, we also have disperse. Since we still have a few open items, let's touch base again in our next discussion. Do not say, let's talk about it later. No, this is a better way to put it. Let's schedule a follow-up call so we can revisit this once we have more data. There you have it, guys. Professional phrases to navigate formal meetings like a pro. So start using this in your next business meeting to sound more confident